Hey guys, tonight we're diving into the beautiful, brutal, and overwhelmingly difficult life of an animal we all think we know, the Bengal tiger. You've probably seen them on TV, moving with that silent, regal confidence, the undisputed monarch of the jungle, a perfect predator in a perfect coat. But trust me, living the life of a wild Bengal tiger is nothing like a slow-motion documentary clip. It's a lonely, exhausting, gut-wrenchingly difficult job, and frankly, most days, it is a desperate fight just to survive. So as we settle in, feel free to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy the stories we share here. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from, and maybe what your favorite big cat is. It's always amazing to see who's joining us from all across the globe. Now dim the lights, maybe imagine the heavy, humid air of the jungle pressing in, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your world begins not with sight, but with warmth and pressure. You are born blind, your eyes sealed shut against a world you're not ready to see. You are a tiny, trembling ball of fur, weighing less than a bag of sugar, and utterly, hopelessly dependent. Your reality is a jumble of primal sensations: the damp, earthy smell of the den, the rumbling purr of your mother's body, a living furnace against your own, and the frantic, competitive squirming of your siblings. This isn't a warm, cuddly family portrait. This is your first competition. You are one of a litter, and every drop of milk is a victory. Hunger is a constant sharp ache in your belly. Your only purpose is to find a teat and hold on, pushing your brothers and sisters aside with a strength born of pure desperation. If you are the smallest, the weakest, you will be shoved to the side. Your mother won't intervene. Nature doesn't have time for sentiment. Outside your dark, cramped sanctuary, the world is waiting to kill you. You can't see the leopards, the d-holes, or the rock pythons that would view you as an easy meal. But your mother knows. Her entire existence is now a tightrope walk between hunting to keep you fed and staying close to guard you. If she's gone too long, you starve. If she's not gone long enough, you starve. But the most terrifying threat doesn't come from a different species. It wears stripes just like yours. The deep, guttural roar echoing through the forest isn't a long-lost relative saying hello. It's a male tiger on patrol. Your father isn't part of this picture. He's a ghost, a memory. Any other male who finds this den will kill you and your siblings without a second thought. It's not personal. Your death simply makes your mother available to mate again. You are not a legacy to him. You are an obstacle. You are born into a world where the greatest danger to being a tiger is other tigers. And your only defense against all of it, the pythons, the rival males, the vast hungry world, is your mother. But she can't protect you by staying put. An even more immediate monster is closing in, a quiet, invisible one that lives inside your own belly, starvation, and to fight it, she must leave you. You don't know this, of course. All you know is that the great, rumbling furnace of warmth and safety is gone. The den suddenly feels vast and cold. The familiar scent of her fur begins to fade, replaced by the damp chill of the earth. Your only reality becomes the sharp, insistent ache of an empty stomach, and the frantic, competitive mewling of your siblings. Out in the forest, your mother has become a different creature. Normally, a tiger is a master of energy conservation, resting up to 20 hours a day, but she can't afford that luxury. She is hunting for 4 now, and her body, designed for patient stillness, is locked in a state of relentless, desperate motion. Every failed hunt, every missed opportunity, is a catastrophic waste of calories she doesn't have, and the failures pile up. The hunt is a masterpiece of failure. For every 10, sometimes 20, exhausting attempts, only one will end in a kill. Imagine her, muscles bunched and trembling, belly low to the ground, stalking a deer for an hour. Every nerve alive, the explosive burst of power, the chase, only for the prey to swerve at the last second and vanish into the undergrowth. She is left panting, her lungs on fire, her own hunger now sharper than ever. But her personal hunger is a dull ache. The thought of you and your siblings, cold and wasting away in the den, is a constant screaming panic. Her job is not just to eat. Her job is to turn a 500-pound sambar deer into milk, a task that becomes more impossible with every failed dash. You are a ticking clock, and she is running a race against your fading energy, on legs that are already threatening to give out. The reason her body is failing is because a tiger's body, and the body you will one day inherit, is a biological paradox. It is a masterpiece of lethal power wrapped around a core of profound inefficiency. Think of it less as a body, and more as a metabolic furnace, built from nearly 400 pounds of bone and muscle that demand a constant massive intake of fuel. Even when she's resting, which is most of the day, that furnace is burning hot, consuming calories just to exist. She doesn't have the option of eating light to survive. She needs to consume the equivalent of a small goat every couple of days, just to break even. And as you lie shivering in the den, you are learning what happens when the furnace runs low on fuel. The hunger is no longer a sharp ache, it's a dull systemic failure, a cold that starts in your pores and seeps into your bones. Your own tiny body, desperate for energy, begins to cannibalize itself, breaking down what little fat and muscle you have. Your mewling becomes weaker. Your siblings feel less like rivals and more like distant, twitching bundles of fur. This is the famine part of the cycle, and for a tiger, it is the default state of being. But then, a shadow falls over the den's entrance. A new smell cuts through the stale air, the coppery, intoxicating scent of blood. Your mother has returned. She doesn't nudge you gently, she collapses, exhausted, and you and your siblings swarm over the carcass she has dragged back. There is no civility. You tear at the meat with needle-sharp teeth, gorging yourself in a frantic, desperate rush. She has succeeded, and now comes the feast. A large kill means she can consume up to 80 pounds of meat in one sitting, and she will let you eat until your belly is a tight, round drum. You eat until you can't move, a bloated, purring ball of relief. For the first time you feel a deep, penetrating warmth that has nothing to do with your mother's body, and everything to do with the calories igniting your own internal engine. This is the brutal rhythm you were born into. The feast that erases the memory of the famine, but it's only temporary. The furnace inside you is already burning through the fuel. Your body is already being coded with this fatal flaw, an insatiable hunger that will rule every second of your life. The famine is never defeated, it's just waiting. But that full, warm, blissful feeling doesn't last. The comfort is an illusion, a brief ceasefire in a lifelong war. The cycles of feast and famine keep turning, and with every turn you grow. Your eyes, once sealed, are now wide and sharp. The clumsy, blind squirming gives way to a shaky, four-legged stalk. You begin to follow your mother, a miniature shadow tripping over her paws, learning the silent language of the hunt. You watch her freeze, you watch her charge, you watch her fail, and you watch her succeed. This is your apprenticeship. But there's no graduation ceremony. There's only an eviction, because as you grow bigger, hungrier, and more capable, the equation of survival begins to shift. You are no longer just a mouth to feed. You are competition. The maternal bond, once the very anchor of your existence, begins to fray and corrode under the relentless pressure for resources. In her eyes, you are slowly transforming from offspring into a rival. One day, the nudge isn't encouragement, it's a shove. The low growl isn't a warning to an outsider. It's directed at you. The carcass she brings back is no longer a shared meal. It's hers, and you are permitted only the scraps, and only with her grudging permission. The den that was your sanctuary is now just another piece of her territory, and you are no longer welcome. This isn't a gentle push out of the nest. It's a hostile, violent, and utterly terrifying divorce from the only life you've ever known. You are now a subadult, a ghost, forced into the margins. You are strong, but not strong enough. You know how to hunt, but you are not yet a master. You have been ejected from the only map you've ever known, and now you're stumbling through a landscape drawn by giants. Every tree trunk scraped raw with claws, every spray of urine. These aren't just messages, they are fences, invisible but as real as stone, and they all say the same thing. This is mine. Keep walking or die. You are a trespasser in your own world, a nomad in a land where every square inch is already owned by a bigger, older, and far more powerful tiger who would kill you just for the crime of existing. But the threat of arrival is a future problem. The monster you have to fight right now lives inside your own stomach. That metabolic furnace you inherited is roaring, demanding fuel you don't have. And so you must do the one thing you've only ever watched. You must hunt. You remember your mother's movements, the low crouch, the patient stillness, The explosive charge. It looked so simple, so inevitable. Now it's your turn. And you are terrible at it. You try to stalk a chital deer, but a dry leaf cracks under your paw with the report of a breaking branch. The deer's head snaps up, and it's gone in a flash of white tail. You try again, this time closing the distance on a wild pig. But you misjudge the wind. Your scent reaches it, a fraction of a second before you can move, and it vanishes into the thorny undergrowth. You remember the numbers now, not as an observation, but as a curse. 1 kill for every 10, maybe 20, attempts. For your mother, an expert, that was a struggle. For you, an amateur, it's a death sentence. Each failure is more than a missed meal. It's an invoice for calories you can't afford to pay. The explosive sprint, the tensed muscles of the stalk, the sheer force of the lunge, it all draws from a bank account that is already deep in the red. You're not just failing to add energy. You are actively, catastrophically draining what little you have left. The hunger sharpens from an ache into a physical weakness. Your legs begin to tremble after a failed dash. Your focus softens. The world takes on a faint, hazy quality as your body begins to shut down non-essential functions. This is the brutal mathematics of your life. You have to spend energy to get energy, but you're starting with a near-empty tank. Every failed hunt pushes you deeper into a deficit, making the next attempt even more difficult, even more desperate. You are learning, in the most painful way possible, that the hunt is not a test of strength. It is a war of attrition, fought against your own body, and you are losing. But as the sun dips below the horizon, pulling the color and heat from the world, something inside you shifts. That hazy, desperate weakness from your failed daytime hunts doesn't deepen with the darkness. Instead, it seems to lift, because this isn't the end of your day, it's the beginning. Where human eyes see a wall of impenetrable black, your world is just coming into focus. Your eyes, which struggled in the flat, bright glare of noon, are now supercharged. A strange, silvery light blooms from within the darkness, illuminating the forest in breathtaking detail. This is your inherited magic, a reflective layer behind your retina that gathers and amplifies every stray photon of moonlight. You can now see 6 times better than the creature you once were, back in that human life. The blackness isn't empty. It's a rich tapestry of greys and silvers. You see the texture of the bark on a tree 50 feet away. You see the exact shape of a leaf as it twists in a phantom breeze. The shadows are no longer just patches of dark. They are deep, textured pockets of cover, places for you to disappear into. And then there's the sound. The forest isn't silent. It's an orchestra. And you can hear every instrument. Your ears, 2 independent satellites, swivel and pivot, mapping the world in 360 degrees. You don't just hear a rustle in the undergrowth. You hear the type of rustle. You can distinguish the whisper of a snake's scales over dry leaves from the delicate, 8-pointed footfalls of a spider on a web. You can pinpoint the exact location of a beetle chewing on a root 5 yards to your left, even as you track the distant call of a nightjar to your right. Your weak, trembling body is still a liability. Your stomach is still a hollow, aching void. But in the cool, silvered world of the night, you are no longer just a clumsy, starving teenager. Your senses have come alive, weaving sight and sound into a perfect 3-dimensional map of potential prey. You're not just in the darkness. You are the darkness, a predator redefined, a ghost given a new and terrible clarity. But that terrible clarity, that nocturnal empire of silver and shadow, is built on a foundation of moonlight, and the sun is coming to tear it all down. As dawn bleeds into day, your advantage evaporates. The world, which belonged to you just hours ago, is reclaimed by an enemy you can't fight, stalk, or kill, the oppressive, suffocating heat. The sun isn't a gentle warmth. It's a physical weight pressing down on your thick fur, cooking the black stripes on your back until they feel branded into your skin. Your body, that massive furnace of muscle, has no efficient way to cool itself. You can't sweat. You can only pant. Each ragged breath a pathetic exchange of hot air for more hot air, costing you precious moisture you don't have. The ground, once cool, now burns the soft pads of your pores. The air itself turns against you, becoming a thick, wet blanket you're forced to breathe. Your instincts scream a single, desperate command: find water, find shade. Now, you are forced to abandon the hunt, forced to abandon your patrol. Your only mission is to stop your brain from boiling inside your own skull. You half stumble, half stagger, towards a riverbank or a dense thicket of bamboo, driven by a primal need for relief. Sinking into the cool mud or submerging your body in murky water is a moment of pure, exquisite bliss. The scorching fire in your skin is finally doused. But this relief is a trap, because while you lie there, inactive and exposed, the clock is still ticking. Your furnace has no off switch. Every minute you spend hiding from the heat is another minute. Your metabolism burns through the last of your reserves. You are a prisoner of the sun, forced into a state of vulnerable idleness while the monster of starvation grows stronger inside you. The day is not a time for a king to rule, it's a time to simply endure. As you lie there in the cool, murky water, a prisoner of the sun, you might think this is your moment of rest. Oh. It's a cold, heavy blanket of absolute profound solitude. There's no pride to lie with, no pack to watch your back. No one is coming, no one will ever come. The only company you have is the gnawing ache in your stomach, and the parade of insects buzzing around your ears. This is the central defining truth of your life. Lions have their prides, wolves have their packs. They share the burdens of the hunt, the raising of young, the defense of territory. They will bring food to an injured member, groom each other's wounds, and fight together against a common threat. You have none of that. Every single challenge from this moment until your last breath must be faced utterly and completely alone. Think about it. That failed hunt last night, the one that left your leg twisted and throbbing. In a pack you would rest, another would hunt, and you would eat. But for you, that slight limp is now a flashing neon sign that screams failure. Every stalk is now compromised. Every explosive charge is a fraction of a second too slow. The deer will hear you, the boar will escape, and the injury, which needs calories to heal, is the very thing preventing you from getting them. A simple thorn lodged in your paw can fester into an infection that makes walking an agony, a gash from a wild boar's tusk, a broken tooth from a panicked kick. These aren't just wounds, they are timers, counting down to your inevitable starvation. There is no sick leave in the tiger world. There is no one to bring you a meal. Your two options are to hunt through the pain, or to lie down and let the hunger win. Every day is a referendum on your own physical perfection, and the slightest flaw means a death sentence, delivered slowly and privately, in the suffocating quiet of the jungle. But even a death sentence can be commuted. Tonight, against all odds, the universe makes a mistake in your favor. A young deer, careless, distracted, strays too close. Years of instinct you didn't know you had take over. The stalk is clumsy but silent enough. The charge is desperate but true. After a brutal, frantic struggle that feels like an eternity, it's over. Silence descends, thick and heavy, broken only by your own ragged gasps, and the soft, steady drip of blood onto dry leaves. The coppery tang fills your nostrils, an intoxicating perfume that rewrites every cell in your body. The famine is over. You've done it. You have food. The relief is so profound it's almost paralyzing. But you can't rest. You can't even take a bite. Your success has just rung a dinner bell for every scavenger in a 5-mile radius. You've just won the lottery. Now you have to get the prize home before the entire neighborhood tries to rob you. You seize the carcass, a dead weight of over 200 pounds in your jaws. Your neck muscles, already screaming from the fight, now feel like they're being torn from your spine. You begin to drag. This isn't a victory march. It's a grueling, clumsy, desperate retreat. You pull, stumble, and pant, your paws slipping in the dirt, dragging a heavy red scar across the forest floor. Every snapped twig echoes like a gunshot. Every shadow seems to hold a pair of hungry eyes. Is that the scent of a leopard on the breeze? Did you just hear the cackle of a hyena? Your prize is also a liability, a beacon broadcasting your location to every competitor you've spent your life trying to avoid. Finally, you find it, a dense thicket of thorns, almost impenetrable. You shove and heave the carcass into the deep shadows, covering it clumsily with leaves and branches. And now your new job begins. You are no longer a hunter. You are a sentry. You gorge yourself. Yes, tearing at the meat until your stomach is a tight, aching drum, but you don't sleep. Not really. You doze with one ear open, your nerves frayed, your body locked in a paranoid vigil. This single kill is your life insurance for the next 3 to 4 days, and for every second of that time you are chained to it. A solitary king on a throne of rotting meat, guarding your treasure from a world that is constantly, relentlessly, trying to take it away. Those few days of guarding your kill were a tense, stolen paradise. But they end, the last bone is gnawed clean, the last scrap of meat gone, the profound relief of a full belly evaporates, and the familiar, hollow ache returns. You are hungry again, but as you rise to begin the hunt, the world feels wrong. The air, usually just hot and humid, is now heavy, thick, and tense. It smells of ozone and deep, wet earth. Then the first drop hits your nose, then another, and then the sky rips open. This isn't rain. This is a deluge, a vertical river falling from the heavens. A soft drizzle would have been a relief. This is an assault. The sound is a deafening, constant roar that smothers the entire world, erasing the subtle sonic map you rely on. You can't hear a twig snap. You can't hear a deer's careful footstep. You can hear nothing but the drumming chaos of the monsoon. The solid ground beneath your paws liquefies into a thick, strength-sapping mud that clings to your fur and tries to pull you down with every step. This water, this life-giving gift to the forest, is a curse on your hunt. The scattered waterholes that once drew your prey into predictable locations are now utterly irrelevant. Water is everywhere. The deer, the boar, all the creatures you depend on have dispersed. They no longer follow familiar paths. They are scattered across a vast, drowning landscape, free to wander anywhere. Your carefully patrolled territory, a map of scents and trails etched into your memory, is being washed away, submerged under a new and hostile geography. Rivers you once drank from are now raging brown torrents, tearing trees from their banks. Low-lying clearings where you used to stalk are now murky, swirling lakes. To hunt, you can no longer just walk. You must swim, and you are a powerful swimmer. Yes, but this is not a leisurely dip to escape the heat. This is a battle against the current, your body, heavy and waterlogged, fighting to cross a stretch of churning water that just yesterday was a dry ravine. The cold seeps into your bones, stealing the precious warmth and energy your furnace is desperately trying to maintain. The very act of moving through your own home has become another monumental drain on your dwindling reserves. The rules have changed. Your world is a broken, watery maze, and the inhabitants are gone. That cold, seeping dampness from the monsoon doesn't just go away when the rain stops. It clings to you. It lives in your fur for days, a heavy, cold blanket that forces your internal furnace to burn even hotter just to maintain a baseline of warmth. You'd think all that water would have washed you clean, but it's done the opposite. It has turned your world and your body into a paradise for an army of tiny vampires. They are everywhere. Ticks, awakened by the moisture, crawl from the leaves and latch onto your ears, your eyelids, the soft skin of your belly. You feel a constant maddening itch from dozens of them, burrowed in, sipping your life away one drop at a time. Leeches inch their way onto your paws and legs. As you navigate the still sodden ground, you can scratch, you can bite at your own skin until it's raw, but you can't reach the ones clustered between your shoulder blades or nestled deep behind your ears. There is no one to groom you, no packmate to help. You are a solitary island, and you are being colonized. This isn't a battle you can fight. It is a tax, a blood tax levied on your very existence, draining the precious calories you fought so hard to win. But the enemies on your skin are nothing compared to the ones within. Every meal you eat, every life-saving carcass you gorge on, is a gamble. The meat that keeps you from starving is often a Trojan horse, delivering a new legion of internal parasites, worms that anchor themselves to your intestines and quietly steal the nourishment from the food you eat. You feel it not as a sharp pain, but as a perpetual hollowness, an exhaustion that a full belly can no longer cure. And when your body is this worn down, by hunger, by cold, by the constant theft of parasites, your defenses crumble. You become a walking invitation for the ultimate invisible enemy, disease. It slips past your weakened immune system, something like canine distemper, and it doesn't just make you sick, it attacks your very essence. It attacks your brain, the world starts to tilt, your powerful legs, the tools of your deadly trade, no longer obey your commands. You stumble, you lose your fear of things you should run from, your perfect predatory mind becomes a confused, terrifying prison. You won't be killed by the fangs of a rival, you'll be dismantled from the inside out, by an enemy you can't see, smell, or fight. But even with your body acting as a prison, and your mind a confused fog, the sun still sets, and as the silver light of the moon begins to filter through the canopy, an impulse deeper than sickness, older than memory, takes over. It's a relentless, non-negotiable script, written into your DNA. The fever doesn't cancel your duties. The jungle doesn't have sick days. You must walk the borders. This isn't a leisurely stroll to stretch your legs. It is a grueling, multi-mile forced march. Every single night, you haul your aching body through terrain designed to break you, shoving through thorny thickets that tear at your fur and climbing steep, muddy embankments that make your muscles scream. Every step is a calculation, another withdrawal from your perpetually overdrawn energy account, but you have no choice. Your territory is your dinner plate, and if you don't viciously defend its edges, someone will take it from you. So you patrol, and you talk, not with roars, but with a silent chemical language. You back up to a tree, lift your tail, and spray a jet of acrid, stinging urine, mixed with your own unique glandular scent. This isn't just a signpost, it's a billboard. It screams your identity, your status, your power, to any other tiger that passes. You leave piles of scat on prominent trails, another bold declaration of ownership. You stand on your hind legs, stretching your massive frame to its full, intimidating height, and you rake your claws down the bark of a tree, leaving deep, parallel gashes. It's a visual threat, and a scented one, as glands in your paws release another layer of your signature into the torn wood. You're not trying to start a fight, you're doing everything in your power to avoid one. A violent, bloody confrontation with another tiger is a roll of the dice you can't afford. This patrol, this map of scent you spend hours refreshing every night, is a Cold War deterrent. It's a system of clear, invisible fences designed to let everyone know where they stand, so you don't have to kill each other to find out. But it is exhausting, lonely, repetitive work, a heavy crown you must polish every single night, all by yourself. That exhausting patrol, that nightly dance of avoiding a fight, has left your body screaming for fuel. The fever from the disease might have cooled to a dull throb, but the furnace inside you is demanding payment. You have successfully navigated the invisible fences and avoided the lethal danger of your own kind. But now, to survive, you must actively seek out conflict. You must hunt. The hollow ache in your gut tells you that a small kill won't be enough. You need a feast. And then you see it. It's not a graceful deer or a small pig. It's a gore, a young bull, but still a walking mountain of muscle and fury. It weighs 3 times what you do, with a thick skull and short, curved horns that taper to deadly points. The risk is astronomical, but so is the reward. A kill like this could mean a week of security, a week without this gnawing, desperate hunger, a week of healing. Your desperation overrules your caution. You stalk, you wait, you explode from cover, but this is not a startled deer. It doesn't run, it turns. In the split second of your lunge, it drops its head, and the world dissolves into hot, blinding pain. One of those horns, a smooth, hard dagger of bone, doesn't just hit you. It punches straight into your shoulder, tearing through muscle and sinew with a sickening rip. The shock is so immense, you release your grip. The gar, snorting with rage, scrambles away into the darkness, leaving you stumbling, roaring in a mix of fury and agony. You haven't just failed the hunt, you've been fundamentally broken by it. The coppery scent in the air isn't your praise, it's your own. You look down at the deep, ragged hole in your shoulder, blood pouring out in a warm, steady rhythm. The very thing you needed to survive has just handed you a death sentence. There is no one to help you, no pack to feed you while you heal. The jungle doesn't pause for injuries, and in the humid air, infection is already on its way. You survived rival tigers, monsoons, and disease, only to be crippled by your own dinner. But the throbbing, searing pain in your shoulder, isn't the headline, it's the footnote. The real story is the profound, terrifying silence that follows, not the silence of the jungle, but the silence of your own body. You cannot patrol, you cannot walk the borders, you cannot refresh the chemical screams of ownership you spent so much energy creating. Your voice is gone. Your territory wasn't claimed with roars, it was built with a quiet, persistent language of scent. The urine sprayed on trees, the scrapes on the ground, the claw marks gouged into bark. That was your daily declaration that a king lived here. But that language has a very short lifespan. It fades. With every hour you lie there, feverish and broken, your invisible fences are crumbling, your scent marks are growing stale, their sharp, intimidating notes of power breaking down into a faint, unthreatening whisper. And somewhere, on the edge of your now porous border, another tiger has noticed. He's on his own nightly patrol, and he's reading the morning paper. He smells your mark from 3 nights ago, but it's weak. He crosses a few feet into your land, expecting to be hit with a fresh, sharp get-out message. But there's nothing. Only the ghostly, fading scent of a tiger who isn't here. It's a chemical silence, a power vacuum, and it's an invitation. He follows the silence deeper into your territory, not looking for a fight, but investigating a mystery. Then, he smells something new. It's not the confident scent of arrival, it's the sickly, metallic odor of old blood, and the foul, sweet perfume of developing infection. It's the smell of weakness, the smell of opportunity. Your own body, in its state of agony and decay, is sending a new message, a loud, honest, and fatal one. It's telling him that the owner of this land is not a threat, but a meal waiting to happen. The complex language you once used to avoid a fight is now going to get you into one you cannot possibly win, and he is coming. And so he comes. The silence of your failing patrol was an open door, and the smell of your wound was an invitation he could not ignore. This is not the grand, glorious battle you might imagine. There is no honor here. It is a business transaction. He is strong, you are broken. And this territory is now his, your journey. That desperate scramble from blind, helpless cub to this final, agonizing moment ends here, not with a roar, but with a whimper. But it wasn't him that killed you. It was the gore's horn, a dagger of bone that ripped through your shoulder and your future. Then again, it wasn't the gore, was it? It was the profound, gnawing hunger that forced you to take such a catastrophic risk, and that hunger was the tax levied by your own magnificent but impossibly demanding body, that great furnace that had to be fed, no matter the cost. It was the solitude that ensured a single crippling wound was a non-negotiable death sentence. It was the monsoon that scattered your prey, and the parasites that quietly stole your strength from the inside out. It was 1,000 small cuts that finally brought the giant down. We began this journey seeing you as a monarch, a perfect predator draped in fire and shadow, but you were never a king. You were a soldier, fighting a lifelong war of attrition against your own biology, against the sun, against the very ground you walked on. Your incredible night vision wasn't a superpower. It was a desperate adaptation to escape the tyranny of the day. Your immense strength wasn't for dominance. It was the bare minimum required to drag a hard-won meal into the shadows before it was stolen. Your life wasn't a reign. It was a relentless, exhausting, and profoundly lonely job. Perhaps now, when we see you, we will see something different. Not just the beauty, but the cost of it. The majesty is not in the effortless prowl we see in documentaries, but in the 20 failed hunts that came before it. The awe is not in the kill, but in the sheer force of will it takes to get up, wounded and starving, and try again and again, utterly alone. You were not a symbol of power. You were a testament to endurance. And now your fight is over. The last of your scent marks, your final declaration of "I am here," has faded from the trees. The jungle, which never truly belonged to you, simply absorbs the silence, and it is as if you were never here at all.